The JMAC Customs RRD 4C muzzle brake. Let's check it out. When it comes to your AK-47 rifle, there are so many different parts and accessories that are being made, a lot of aftermarket parts, and this makes it really cool to be able to outfit your rifle the way you want to. One thing that's really popular to do is to add a compensator or flash hider to your rifle. This makes it easier to get back on target for follow-up shots. It's a lot less on the shoulder, and it just makes it a lot more pleasurable to shoot. I've done a review on the RRD 4 by JMAC Customs actually almost 2 years ago, and I have it on a Century Arms RAS 47. It made a world of difference. And so this year when we were down at NRA, I ran into Justin and Ash McMillan, who own JMAC Customs. And we got together and just had a great time. And so one of the things that we were talking about is doing some work with their new RRD 4C, which is a cut down version, more effective, lighter weight of the RRD 4. But while we were at it, we're also going to test the RRD 4 for the VZ58. And it is a 14mm by 1 right hand thread, while the RRD 4, at least in this configuration for your standard AK, is 14mm by 1, and it's a left hand thread. And so we're going to do a side-by-side comparison with the original muzzle brakes compared to the RRD 4 and the RRD 4C. Now this is a RRD 4C. It's been modified some over the standard RRD 4 here. It just makes a huge difference when shooting the rifle. The muzzle rise is very low, and the recoil is definitely reduced. One thing though that these muzzle brakes also feature is that they have a lot of flash hiding capability, which is unusual for compensators. You do have though a lot of concussion coming off the side, and that's just part of physics, but these make a huge difference at the range. Now the RRD 4 that I have here is actually on a VZ58, and it's actually one of the VZ 2008s. It was imported by Century Arms, and I've had this gun for quite a while. It actually has more muzzle flash and more recoil than your standard AK. A lot of it has to do with the smaller size. It's just a little bit smaller, and we'll take a look at that in a little bit. But we're going to do a side-by-side comparison with the JMAC Customs muzzle brakes versus the factory muzzle brake or military spec. Now this is the slant brake. It was on the VZ58. And then we have one of the Chevron brakes from Century Arms. Now this one is fairly effective. I mean, this makes a better brake for recoil management and for muzzle rise than your standard mil-spec brakes. But we're going to go ahead and compare it to the RRD 4C. The overall length of the RRD 4 is 2.1 inches, but considering the threads here, it only adds 1.5 inches to the length of your barrel. The standard RRD 4 weighs 4.4 ounces. With the C, which is made to reduce the weight, is 2.7 ounces, so it's a very lightweight muzzle brake. These are stainless steel, and according to JMAC Customs, these are military grade stainless and have a black nitride finish to them. They look just really well done, and they are. Again, I've had a lot of experience with these in the past. Now, they are to reduce muzzle rise and about 20% reduced recoil. And honestly, I think it's a little more than that because it's a significant difference. Now we're shooting at some different angles to be able to get a side-by-side comparison with not only the RRD4 but also compared to the standard muzzle brakes that came onto this rifle. But the RRD4 was definitely superior in the side-by-side comparison and also in the way it felt. There was a lot less recoil with the RRD4 in both of these rifles. I want to thank Red Army Standard for sending the 7.62 by 3.9 for the test. This is 122 grain full metal jacket, and this is made in Russia. Too bad we're not going to be able to get this anymore for a long time. But they are bringing in other countries, so Red Army Standard's been really good for all my experience. Now we're just going to hold the rifle loose and see if we can get a really good gauge of the recoil. And this is with the JMAC Customs muzzle brake. Smooth like butter. Now we're going to try the VZ58. JMAC Custom muzzle brake on the VZ58. The Chevron muzzle brake that was on the C39 V2 actually is pretty effective. You know, it does tame the recoil over your standard mil-spec muzzle brakes. And there was a slight difference in recoil with the RRD 4C. And I like that over the Chevron, but to be honest, it wasn't that great of a difference. Now when it comes to the VZ and the slant muzzle brake, there was a major amount of difference. The slant muzzle brake had a lot more recoil. Of course, the rifle is lighter again, and so the RRD4 made a big difference between those two, and I'm really glad to have that on the rifle. As far as with the original C39 V2, I'll probably leave the Chevron muzzle brake on it and then take the RRD4C and move it to another rifle that will help mitigate the recoil with a lesser muzzle brake. But one of the big advantages with the RRD4 is also the muzzle flash. Now they also are purported to reduce flash. Now one of the things that I did, I took some photos from a video that Justin at JMAC Customs put together. He took 38 different muzzle brakes for the AK and he tested them in low light conditions and then took pictures, and I mean it was a pretty in-depth review. And what I have is just some standard pictures of the flash coming off of the end of this barrel from the side. Now the first picture here is completely without a muzzle brake, and you can see the fire coming out of the front of the barrel. Next we have a picture with the slant brake, and you can also see the flame or the ball of fire that's coming out. Okay, now we have the chevron brake from Century Arms that was already on the C39. And then we have the RRD 4, and this is the muzzle signature. You can see that it is considerably less. The flash is just much less than the previous models. Then we have the RRD 4C, and again you can see the flash. Now there's definitely some flash, but it's very minimal. Now there are a number of muzzle devices that reduce the flash more than the RRD 4, but all of those were dedicated flash hiders. And one of the things about flash hiders, they're not made to reduce recoil, they're not made to reduce muzzle rise. They're only made to reduce the flash. And so with the RRD4, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. One of the disadvantages, though, again, from your RRD4 is you are going to get that side concussion that you get with your typical compensator. To remove your existing muzzle brake, there's a detent with a spring right here. You just depress it. You can actually do it with a spent shell or your finger. With the VZ58, it's right-hand thread. So we just unscrew it, and then it comes right off. To install the RRD4, we're turning it clockwise to tighten until you hit the detent. And when you do, just depress it and continue to turn until it bottoms out against the sight tower. There it is. Then we come back one turn and lock it into place. That's one of the things I love about the AK rifle. The muzzle brakes are super easy to take on and off, and yet they're very secure. Here with the C39 V2 we have the chevron muzzle brake. This is actually a pretty solid muzzle brake. I mean, it really does help with felt recoil. Push in the detent, we turn it clockwise to loosen. Once it gets past the detent, you can let it go. And we pull it off. Now we're going to take the RRD4C, and this is left-hand threads, and so we go counterclockwise, and then we just tighten it down until we bottom out on the detent. Then we depress and go all the way to the sight tower. And then we come back and we lock it right into the detent. Now the RRD4 for the VZ58, I believe they're discontinuing that once the stock runs out. And in fact, they're running a special on them right now for $72.50. With your standard RRD4, and the C model is running $96. And the caliber diameter is .360, which means that you can attach these to 5.56, you can attach it to 5.45, 7.62 by 3.9, 7.62 by 5.4R, and 308 NATO. So there's a lot of variants, especially if you're using a standard AK in those calibers with the left-hand threads. Then you can go with that. Now they also make not only the 14 by 1 left-hand thread, they also make a 24 millimeter. They make the 26 millimeter, and those are for the NPAPs, the M92s, and the M85s. And they also make a slim model of the RRD4. Plus, these are US made parts, so they count toward 1 part to your 922R compliance. And I want to thank Justin and Ash McMillan for sending the RRD4 muzzle brakes. You can find out more information at JMAC-Customs.com. They make a lot of different parts for the AK-47 and for other rifles. So check them out. They're just great folks. They're in West Virginia. Everything is made right here in the USA. These muzzle brakes are just top-notch. Also go by the JMAC Customs YouTube channel. I'll have the link down below. Justin and Ash demonstrate a lot of things about their muzzle brakes. They have a lot of fun, and it's just a great YouTube channel, so check it out. Hey guys, this is the real reason that I did this review. Sorry, Justin. Just kidding. And if you want to support the Such channel, you can go to patreon.com/Such00. And if you're looking for Such gear, you can go to teespring/stores/Such00. I'll have both links down below in the description. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Loose demonstration. I don't need to say that. but we're gonna do a side by. Now the length on the RRD4 is 1 point. Now the total length, the overall length of the RRD4s. Okay. Anytime I can get an AK-47 out to the range, I'm pretty. Okay. JMAC Customs muzzle brake. JMAC Customs muzzle. RRD4. Kind of reminds me of R2-D2.